Hey, Tony Gassins here. Now, I want to pop in and talk to you about this word that you see in the title. And I saw this young lady that somebody sent me a video of a young lady. I don't recall her name, but she was talking about, it was funny to me because it's like she was on a podcast and she was talking about being like, another lady asked her, what is submission? And she was like, what does that mean you do for your man or something like that? And she was like, everything. And she was like packing his bags, unpacking his bags. And then she was saying like, if the man is fighting the world, he's not gonna come home and fight her. And that's a hard question to answer. So I gotta give the young lady that. It's a hard question to answer. And I think that in our world, that's what we don't really explore the term submission. And we don't really think about it often. And the way it's set up is the man goes and he provides. He goes out, he conquers the world. Like before we had what we had today, I would assume men would go out to hunt. And you hunt and you bring back food, or you go fishing and you bring back food, and maybe the woman had a garden and a man had to go out and work and use his trade. So if he knew how to make swords, he went and made swords and sold the swords. If he knew how to make sandals, or in a lot of places, the women made things that were sold in the marketplace. And so we don't really explore submission and what that really means and what it means today, because what it meant in the 1800s, 1500s, different than, and BC is different than what it means today. And honestly, submission today means respect. Submission is respect. I tell you, as a man, for me, like cooking and cleaning, that's great. That's a great thing. But you can hire a chef. You can eat out. A lot of men can cook. A lot of men like to cook. Cleaning is necessary. But a lot of people, especially men who earn a decent amount, can hire a cleaner if need be. But submission is respect. Submission is honesty. Submission is loyalty. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand, because a woman could be cooking and cleaning and sleeping with a man, but if she is telling their business to her friend, like painting him in a bad light, if she's talking to her parents or her whoever, like about all the negative, everything she doesn't like about him, everything he does wrong, then that's not submission. That's backstabbing. Now, it's different if she's in an abusive situation where she fears for her life, or she fears something's gonna happen to her and she needs that ally to say, hey, I'm getting ready to get out. I'm making a plan. Help me make this plan. That's different. But if it's just like venting about him, so really doing things but resenting the man for the things she's doing or has to do, that's not submission. And doing things is not submission. That's service, but that's not submission. And we don't really process it. Like you're serving, and it's really not even serving, because you need to eat and you need to live as well. So you're doing your part in the house. So if that's submission, then the man working, if that's his part to work and pay the bills, then that's submission as well. So we have to understand that submission goes both ways. Submit to one another. And the definition can change based on the couple. And so we really need to understand, because it's a lot of women who are becoming do girls, just becoming do girls, becoming maids, becoming slaves, and calling it submission. And the thing about that with men is we are easily spoiled. And we don't know how to really appreciate service. And we over appreciate ourselves and our contribution to the house. So almost every man puts making money at the highest level, but puts house cleaning and cooking at the lowest level. So we could make money as a man, but not really value and appreciate or see our woman as an equal for taking care of the entire home and the kids and us. And we don't see it the same. And the reason why we don't see it the same until it's brought to our attention and we learn and we grow and we start to evolve as a man, the reason why we don't see it the same is because the world puts so much emphasis on money, and women put so much emphasis on money, and men put so much emphasis on money, and everything costs money. And so that because of that difference, it's like if you don't clean the house, the lights don't get turned out and food doesn't make it to the table. Like if you don't clean the house, you have a dirty house. If you don't pay the light, if you don't make money, then you can't pay the light bill. The lights get turned off. You can't pay the water bill. The water gets turned off. You can't live where you're living. You will get evicted. So men put so much on money. And because of that as well, a lot of women put so much on money. And so what happens is a lot of women feel worthless for cooking and cleaning if they're not making money or if they're not making enough money. And as men, we perpetuate the cycle. We reinforce that feeling in the woman. And it's very, very hard. And I have struggled and I have suffered with this as well as a man. And that's how I understand it. And as men, we have to understand that love that's coming from a woman is no less valuable than the love that's coming from us. So what it takes for us to go out and earn a living, which a lot of times is enjoyable. You know, a lot of men are going to find an enjoyable way to make money, or they're going to enjoy when they're making money. And what I mean by that is, even if a man is, you know, hauling trash, like he's a garbage man and he has all these horrible smells, the conversation he has with his partner that he's working with is very eye-opening and enlightening, and it's releasing dopamine and serotonin into his bloodstream. On lunch break, he's just really kicking back and just talking about sports, and you know, and so it makes the job easier, and he has that release, he has that outlet. Whereas if the woman is home, if she's a stay-at-home woman, then she's talking to the walls. You know, she's talking to the walls. She got to listen to a podcast. She got to watch television. She may have to get to talk to a family member if her mom is retired or something, or not, or she could talk to a friend. And then think about this: if the woman is working, now the woman is going to work, and she may get the same release the man gets from the conversation and communication, but then she got to come home to another job. And so she leaves the job for 8 hours a day or more, 8 to 10 hours a day, and then she got to come home to the job of the home, which is very tedious and very monotonous. And you know, women without a job struggle maintaining a home, and it's very draining. So imagine a woman with a job and she got to maintain the home. Whereas the man makes money. Traditionally, some men do more. The man makes money traditionally. And so it's a lot of pain that's caused. And this has happened in my relationship included. And I feel like this happens in most relationships. A lot of pain is caused when the man makes money and the woman takes care of the home, and it's not seen as equal contribution. And that's where we have to work and grow. So we have to understand that submission is not just being a do-girl, and submission is not just being a sex slave. that submission truly is being honest with your man, like listening to your man's ideas and giving him honest feedback. Submission is holding him accountable because you love him. Submission is not being blind and lying down and letting him drive into a ditch because you're afraid to say something because you feel like that's disrespectful as a woman. Submission is not being ran over and being a floor mat and letting him have his way. And also submission is, it takes strength, and being strong means that you require something in return. So you have to understand that submission is a two-way street, and both people have to be fully engaged, and both people have to understand and see what this means to me. What is submission? What does this mean? How does this look? And when you do that, I think you can come to terms and you can really see and understand like what your relationship needs. And we can't get so caught up in trying to win a heart through our service and our love. And instead, we got to operate authentically and in a very real and organic way, and make sure that we are receiving what we're giving, and make sure that things are established in the relationship so that both parties know and understand what their strengths are and what they can provide to the relationship, to the household, and that it is, give and receive. That is a reciprocal relationship to where no one is empty and drained, and only one person's continuously being filled. And so this and the reason why this word is so sticky for me is because I'm a man and I understand how lazy we can be outside of work. And I understand how entitled we can be. And I understand how complacent we can be. And I understand how we can minimize and ignore the contributions of others, and how we can quickly be takers. Like, look at the white man in the world and the position of power and dominance that he has asserted himself into, and what he has put other races through for his convenience, to assert dominance. Like, look at what the white race has done, and it's the white man who's in power. And it's not a racist thing, but I just want you to understand males. And then when you look at the black man and the Hispanic man, look at what we do in the home and how we assert dominance over our woman, and how we treat our woman oftentimes the way the white man treats the world. And sit with that. Sit with that. Sit with that now. Sit with that. And so for me, I'm now going into this space of just now 15 years of marriage, of really trying to evolve and learn and grow, and praying that not too much damage has been done from the mindset that we live with in our world, and trying to come to a place to where, man, you know what, as much as I do for my wife, I need to still be mindful of my words and how I speak about her contribution, and how I see it in my mind, and how I'm moving. And I need to talk to my sons about this when they of age, and I need to help them understand the fallacy and the error in my ways, and the fallacy of my beliefs, and how I saw things in the world as it relates to a man and money and providing and being a husband and being a father, and really understanding what makes a man a man. And it's truthfully our quiet confidence and our gentleness, our humility, not our perceived strength, our fake strength. It's not our control and our dominance. And understanding what it is to be a man. And so submission really should not be like a thing, like a big word, because if a man is gentle and loving and kind, then a woman is gentle, loving, and kind. The man is loving her, she's loving him. So the act of love in itself is submission, because to love, you are being selfless and you are being humble. And so that is submission, being loving. And we can't look at submission as just acts of just service, because that's when it turns into servitude. It turns into slavery almost. And the thing is you will be pouring, but the person you're pouring into doesn't understand how depleting your service is, and they don't know how much to pour into you. And they may not realize that just paying the bills isn't pouring into you. And so a man will be working and paying the bills and everything's paid for, but then outside of that, he may be still very demanding and not giving. And that's what we do as men. Like, he may be on a video game, he may be on a golf course, he may be, on the grill, which, yeah, you're gonna get to eat, but he may not be giving quality time and words of affirmation and physical touch and really being present, but yet he is providing. And so that's why we got to be careful with this submission thing, because it can easily be misconstrued and it can easily be misused. And so think on this, and understand that there's no one definition. Yeah, you could read it in Webster Dictionary, but that's not going to apply, because a man wrote that. And that ain't going to apply to every situation. It's like, that's what it means in the dictionary, slavery or what have you. But in love, in a relationship, you got to define it for yourself. You got to define it in your relationship. And so for me as a man, I don't need a woman to base her existence on cooking and cleaning. Well, I'd rather, and if she could only do one, I'd rather her be honest and loyal than a clean house. And I could clean the house, I could help clean the house. But if she cooking and cleaning and packing my bags, unpacking my bags, but disloyal, dishonest, then everything she's done is null and void. But if she is doing what she does and she's honest and loyal, and she's also honest in telling me what she needs and what I'm doing that is wrong or what I'm doing that is lacking, and if she doesn't back down and she holds me accountable and she doesn't allow me to make her feel less than, and she speaks until I hear her and she stands her ground, to me, that's submission. Because what you have to realize is a submission is also to submit something. So submission is not just to surrender. The other side of submission is to submit. So when she submits to me her needs, and she submits to me her truth, but then she also is submissive in hearing, meaning she is receiving what I'm saying, and she is receiving my love, and she is not combative in the sense of being disrespectful, talking down to me, laughing at my dreams, laughing in my face, emasculating me. She's not emasculating me. That is also submission. So you see how you got to really spend some time with that and just kind of see what it is for your relationship and make sure it's a two-way street, and make sure, or you may call it a give and take, or I like to say give and receive, instead of taking something. And it's a deep topic, but one thing that I will say, and I just want to send this warning to all ladies, is make sure you don't become a do girl. Make sure you don't just become a do girl, call girl, just a escort. Make sure that you have some agency in the relationship, and that there's some reciprocation, and that your love bucket is being filled, your love account is being deposited into, and you're just as full as you're keeping your man. And as men, we will not do that on our own. In most cases, we need to be checked. We need to be reminded in a respectful way. You should never yell and curse and throw things and go off. Like, you should sit down in a time of peace and have a face-to-face, eye-to-eye, heart-to-heart conversation, and don't stop having that conversation until it is heard and it sinks in. No matter how we push back, no matter what we say, no matter what we bow up and we get mad and we are paying the bill, at the end of the day, we want to be held accountable. We want to know what we need to do better. Men like correction, but we try to throw it back in your face. We'll throw the correction back in your face out of hurt, out of feeling inadequate, insecurity, immaturity. But deep down, we need to hear that. And if a man can dominate you, if you let a man shut you up about your needs and about your feelings, then he will do that. He will do that. And because that's the nature of a man, to assert dominance, to take over, to conquer, to rule and to reign. That's the nature of a man. But if you stand your ground, if you bow up at a man and you want to fight a man, you're going to send him into the wrong space. But if you use words, cool, calm, and collected, in a time of peace, those words will pierce through his ego and he will hear you. And see, this is one of the issues of, women giving advice to women about men. Because what I found is that most men don't understand women, and most women don't understand men. And so a lot of women will say, oh, just sit down, just be quiet, just cook, just clean, just keep everything took care of, just do this, all that, don't do all that, telling him what you need and telling him all this. And if he say this or that, don't say nothing else no more. And that's not the way to go, because eventually the woman is going to be broken and she's going to go outside. And then that could cost her life, because that man ain't gonna know how to handle that. That man, or cost that somebody else their life, because that man ain't gonna know how to handle that, because he done been reinforced. And then all of a sudden, out the blue, he feels stabbed in the back. Versus had the woman just talked to him and checked him and held him accountable and really expressed and, stood her ground in a real way. Like, instead of, being fake tough, actually really standing her ground, like, cool, calm, and collected. Like, no, I'm here and this is what I need. This is what I'm giving. This is what need to be gave. And that need to be repeated. And if that's not heard, if that's not respected, then changes got to be made. A move got to be made. So, hey, this Tony Gaskins. Hey, tomorrow, got class. Make sure I'll put the link in the description. Streams of income. We finna hit this here recession. So this was the topic that y'all requested out of the ones I posted to the Blessed Tribe. So tomorrow at 12 p.m., that's Eastern time. So that's Florida. That means it'll be 11 in Houston. That means it'll be 9 a.m. in Los Angeles, in California. So tomorrow at noon, we're doing the streams of income. It's only $25. It's a 2-hour class. It'll be a lesson and possibly Q&A. We do Q&A in the chat just to keep things smooth and flowing. So if you missed it last week, make sure you catch it tomorrow, because it may be the last time it's taught live, at least this season. And if you signed up for the class last week, then you will get the live I mean, you could just come on again tomorrow free of charge because you're already in the system, in the course. I didn't create a new one. So you could just be on there, and you know, that'll help us fill up the room a little bit too. So it'll be the same message now. Don't come on expecting to hear nothing different. We talking about the same thing, but you know, if you want to be on there, you can. Hey, thank you so much. I'll put that link in the description. God bless you. We'll talk soon.